Unit heading up to the code 3 chase. Suspect was...
If anyone's going to be calling the police, it's going to be me.
Greetings. Welcome to Cop to Corporate. I'm Brian Tuskin, your host. And today's topic, we're going to talk about law enforcement categories in their transition. So I've come up with 3 specific categories in your law enforcement timeline. I'm sure there are more, but let's just stick with my 3. And just to give you insight how I came up with it, about 7-8 years ago, I was asked by Jack Zaran, who's the president of Pinkerton Investigations and Consulting, and he asked if I was interested in inking a blog on their website to talk about the successful transition from the public sector to the private sector. And I'd never thought of blogging before, so I need to thank Jack for getting me started. And what I did is I wrote a short blog talking about the transition, and I came up with these 3 categories. So before I go into that, you probably see I'm wearing my Toronto Police Services baseball cap. Shout out to my friends, to the men and women in the Toronto Police Services for their hard and dedicated work. And I want to say a thank you and a mahalo, which is a thank you for Hawaiian for this cap. And let's go into the categories. So there are 3 categories that I look at any law enforcement professional that are in their career. The first category, I would just say transition number 1, is pretty traditional. Everyone that is on this show probably thinks this is specific to this first category, or cop to corporate is, but it's not. It's the retirees. So you as a law enforcement professional, whether you work for federal government, military, state, local, city, municipal, you put in your 20, 25 years, 30 years, maybe even more, and you just decide, okay, it's time to retire. You have a pension, you've worked very hard for that pension, and now you're still young though, and you want to look for something else to do. And you're looking for something in the corporate. So that would be transition phase number 1. What you're going to hear me talking about a lot for cop to corporate is transition 2. So the people that fall in transition 2 is where I fell in. And that's mid-career. And mid-career as in you spent 10 plus years within law enforcement. You had a really great run at it, a great tenure. You did all kinds of stuff, but you have this nagging, burning desire to do something different. For me, I don't know what it was that triggered it, but I decided at 12 years, I wanted to do something different, and an opportunity presented itself in the corporate world, and I've been there ever since for the last 20 years. Now, the one thing I want to point out, mid-career transition, when I specifically say mid-career, that means you left on your own. You weren't fired. You weren't moved out of the department. You decided, you controlled your destiny. You decided to go find something else. And that's really category 2. Now, I will have a podcast to talk about second chances for officers that messed up, ended up getting fired, or they ended up having to quit. And it wasn't criminal in nature, but they violated some sort of policy and ended up getting bumped out of the department. So I will cover that on another podcast because it's so, I would say, sensitive to discuss law enforcement officers that are fired, specific to non-criminal matters or something as a policy violation. So I'll cover that later. And the third transition phase or category would be someone that lasted no more than 2 years, right? So they got into FTO if you're in municipal law enforcement, and for some reason they could not make it, they got washed out, or you worked a year to 3 years and you just decided this job is not for me. And that's okay. It's okay to get into law enforcement, and you may have had a strong desire to do it all your life, and you trained really hard to get there. And once you got there, it was not for you. And this third category is quite interesting from a recruiting perspective because you have all of this rich training experience from whatever agency you worked at, and you can bring that into the corporate world. So if you're an investigator or you're doing some sort of security operations, you still have that training, and you're just not a long tenured officer. So those are the three categories. And what I'd like to put out is a challenge to the law enforcement community that has been following me. Cop to Corporate isn't just Brian Tuscan's show. It is everybody's show that's in law enforcement. We are helping our brothers and sisters out there, officers that are either struggling on what to do after law enforcement or even mid-career. And we are here to help you. And I can't do it all myself. I used to take tons of calls, answer lots of emails. I just don't have the time. So that's why I'm blogging, giving all my insight, but I'm not a one-man show. I want everybody to participate. So I have a few asks. One, subscribe to my YouTube channel. So whenever I post a new video, you'll get an alert right away. If we are not connected on LinkedIn, please connect with me on LinkedIn and share your comments. So this particular topic is about the categories. I would like to ask my followers and listeners out there, share your story. What category were you in, whatever you're comfortable of sharing. And then this will spark replies and other questions from other people that are interested in learning about life after law enforcement. And it's to create this dialogue. And what I'm hoping is we can build relationships, networking. And I'll talk about the secret sauce to getting that cool corporate job on another blog. But networking is extremely important. So I'm going to have a giveaway. And I basically bought some high-end thermos type of coffee mugs, especially for you patrol officers, because you want that really good, strong mug. And whoever gets the most replies to their comment on this specific topic of the three categories, I'm going to ship you a mug. And so I think I'll take a week or two to collect the top comments, and you will get this mug. So until then, I wish everyone the best, and thank you for watching Cop to Corporate.